What's going on, everybody? Fedor here from 3D Print SOS. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video we have another direct drive machine. This time it is the Kywoo3D Tycoon. I've actually been following this brand for a very long time now, since the beginning. I was actually one of the first members on their Facebook group because I was really intrigued by what this printer had to offer. They have been making this thing better over the years, and I'm really excited to have this thing on the channel and really excited to be able to show it off to you guys. This thing should be built like a tank, and that's what really gets me excited about it. But before we go ahead and cover this, I want to cover some other things. There's two other things I want to talk about. The first is people have been messaging me all over the place asking me, hey, when is there going to be an end to this direct drive battle? Well, the answer to that is after this. I want to give this printer a chance because I think it falls into a certain category and is very different compared to some of the other machines that we've been looking at. And then afterwards I want to do a roundup, summarize pretty much everything that we've seen, give each printer points, talk about strengths, weaknesses, pricing, as well as I'm going to have a poll in the community tab that's going to ask you guys what your fan favorite machine is. So that answers that question. The second thing is, up here will be popping up a video where 3IIDMax and myself are doing a big 3D printed airplane project, an RC airplane, and I'm really excited to have an update for that. There's two things I want to cover. I have been printing, admittedly, off camera, mostly on the VoxLab Aquila Pro. The reason for that is in my video, the VoxLab Aquila Pro, I actually mentioned that Cura was not working on that machine because I couldn't get it running. Well, since then, VoxLab and myself and a few others have been working with them directly to make some updates to the machine's firmware, and I'm happy to say that it's finally out. And I have a video that should be popping up above where I go over some of the settings that you need to get Cura running. And this was printed in Cura on that machine, and the prints have been really nice. This is actually a really complicated profile and actually somewhat hard to do because this is a single wall, and this is actually just a tiny portion of the wing to this thing, so it's going to be massive. Here is the motor mount where the prop will go in the front. Everything is looking really good, and I really like the shade of this red color. It almost has a pastel quality to it. So I'm really excited to see how this filament works on this machine. So I'm really excited to just get more printed for this project because it's just fun. The other update on this particular project is actually this right over here. What I ended up making recently was this little guy. This is an FPV camera antenna, and we have a VTX, a video transmitter for the camera. And what this is going to do, at least in my hope, is I'm going to be able to mount this on the airplane. I should be able to move it back and forth to get the center of gravity of the airplane correct. This will be running from the battery itself on the airplane, and it is going to give a live feed to these goggles. One of the cool things about it is I'll be able to record that feed directly to the goggle and use that footage later, but also if I'm confident enough to fly the airplane, I should technically be able to toss these on and then fly the airplane right from this camera. So that is really exciting. But the reason why I made this little module instead of just putting it on the airplane in some way, because I think it would be really fun to be able to mount this on various things. A cat, a dog. No, I'm just kidding. All my other RC projects, and it would be cool just to get a first-person view perspective and pilot whatever it is that we are making at the time. So this should be a fun little combo, and I'm just really excited for it. These components were actually gifted to me by Hero over from our Discord. Thank you, man. I'm definitely going to put this stuff to good use. I really appreciate it. And there's just a lot of fun things coming for this project. All the electronics are finally done and set up, and I will share the electronics and further more into that whole thing when I have everything done and printed for the project. But that's enough of that. Just wanted to cover those things because people have been asking, so there it is. Let's go back to this printer. On paper, the printer is wild. It has everything going for it. It has a larger build volume at 240 by 240 by 230. It has a touch screen that's running a modern version of Marlin. It has Wi-Fi connectivity from its 32-bit board. It has an MKS Wi-Fi module, so we should be able to print directly from Cura right to the machine without any kind of SD cards at all, which should be really nice. It has auto bed leveling, but most importantly, outside of just how robust this thing is the whole thing is technically working on a linear rail system and a linear rod system. The y-axis rides on these linear rods, kind of like a Prusa machine does, and then the x-axis rides on a linear rail. So basically there's no plastic or rubber wheels anywhere. This thing should be really durable and built to last. That's why I want to feature this machine. It is definitely very different. At least at the time of filming, this thing costs somewhere between $450 and $500-ish, somewhere in that price range. Depending on where you look online, you can get it in different places, and I'll definitely have links down below so that you can check it out if you're interested. But we are going to handle this the same way that we always do on this channel. I'm going to go into it with limited amounts of research, but I'm going to unbox the machine. I'm going to show you everything that comes in the box. We are going to put it together, and then we're going to print some test prints from the SD card. And actually for that, I'm going to use this. This is a brand new filament by YouSu, and its trick up its sleeve is this is a 2-color filament where it is going to change color depending on which angle you look at it. And I featured another one of these in one of the previous videos I did, and it is just a beautiful filament, and I can't wait for this color combo. I definitely really like this one. It stands out, and it is going to look good. And then once we get a Cura profile and get this thing hooked up, I'm going to be using this. This is IIIDMax Extreme PLA, and this is the stuff that I want to use to continue printing parts for our RC airplane. So a lot to do. This might be a long video, but guys, I'm going to have timestamps so that you can click on each particular section. If you don't want to see an unboxing, or if you don't want to see me put it together, just go ahead and click through, go to the section that you like, that you find where you can find the information that you need. So don't let the longer video format throw you off. It can be short and concise, just like you want it. So just check out those little chapters, those timestamps right in the description as you scroll. They should be right there and labeled with everything that you need to get you to the right section in the video. Okay, talked a lot. Let's unbox it. All right, got my blade. Box is so big I had to get on my tippies. Alright, so typical manual right at the top. Little envelope from Kywoo. Welcome to join the Kywoo family. Thank you. Right on top we have the bed. Standard glass with a texture on it. Alright, looks like right away we have the base to the machine. Alright, looks like it's going to be tough for me to fit everything in the shot, but I'll show you after I take everything out. So we have the power plug here. Let's take a look. Why don't we? So first thing I notice right away are these very, very large feet. That's nice. Let's take a closer look here. Looks like the bed has insulation. There's no springs like I mentioned, so it just rides completely flat. Wow, that's very smooth. Very smooth linear motion. We have an XT60 style plug, it looks like. We have a metal mount for the motor itself. Oh, that's nice. The bearing in the front here is just drilled right into the metal instead of having like a little plastic contraption. Just overbuilt. I like it. Alright, looks like we could get a little mini spool of white PLA. The Kywoo accessory box. Alright, so we get the rear feet. We get a filament holder, spool holder. And we have our tools. Oh, look what's in there. Look what's in there. That's right. Side cutters. Little scraper. We have 4 bed clips. And then we have a bag of miscellaneous tools. Looks like there's even a end switch. Oh, these little clips are interesting. This is a way to actually tighten belts without a tensioner. Looks like there's a little USB cable. There's an extra nozzle. We have an SD card, a mini SD card, and adapter. It's an 8 GB card. Alright, I'll just leave all that in there for now. Ton of little goodies in here. Alright, and it looks like the only other piece in here is the actual main part of the printer, so I'm going to set this box down and get it out. Wow. That's a thick boy right there. Trying to see if this is a Meanwell power supply. See, this is interesting. So a lot of printers come with handles on the top of them. But this one comes with two, and it actually makes sense for this machine, just the way that you would grab it. You would grab two and just, you know, put it wherever you need. It's the little things, guys. The cooling fan's kind of interesting. I'll get a closer look once we actually take everything out here. The way that the Z-axis moves up and down is also very interesting. I'm gonna have to get a camera in there to show you. Let me get you in a little bit closer, show you some of the inner workings here. Alright, so let's take a closer look. We have a filament runout sensor. We have a nice knob here that's directly connected with a metal coupler directly to the stepper motor. It looks like we have a single gear extruder here, but it does go to a nice hot end that's all one piece. Should be easier for cooling. As far as parts cooling goes, that is actually an interesting duct where the 40-20 fan is right here on the bottom. Looks like the blades are on top here. I wonder if there's an easy way to upgrade that if we need. Probably won't, especially because there's nowhere to travel here for air. It's just blowing directly here. But interesting place. The movement is so smooth. If we look in here, we have some goodies as well. We have some nice springed couplers here that should remove any kind of movement in the Z. We have metal mounting for the Z motors on both sides. And then we have a spot for a power supply that's hiding in there. I've seen other people say that that is a Meanwell power supply. I actually can't tell. There's the logo of the brand. I can't tell if that's Meanwell or not. But maybe there's a spec list somewhere. Either way, it's nicely tucked away and out of the way. Like I said, the top has two nice handles. We have a touch screen over here on the right. The bed connection is an XT60 connector. This is for the thermistor, I'm guessing. All the other cables are labeled. Then when I flip this over, and it looks like our motherboard is right over here. Can we see it from the side? Oh, okay, so the motherboard is actually up there. That is the MKS board. It's mounted to the top right over here. And it looks like we have a couple connections. We have a micro USB, a micro SD slot. This is what we're going to be using to put files on it if we need to use it instead of Wi-Fi. And then we have a big full-size SD here for the screen, which is typical of these screens. But I don't think we'll be using this for the files. I think we'll be using this. If this is an MKS board, which I think it is, you can use this, but we'll test that at some other point. I definitely really like this hammered feel and texture to this. This is metal, it is not plastic, and just the whole thing looks so robust. If you look at the base here, it is actually very long. It is the full length of the travel of this bed. So it's definitely not going to be a flimsy machine. So really excited to put this together. I'm going to throw you guys back on the tripod and throw this thing together, and I'll see you back here in a second. Okay, I think that might have been the fastest I have put together a printer on this channel. From start to finish, that was 6 minutes. That's including looking and reading the instructions, adding a few zip ties, removing some zip ties, hooking up all the connections, and the printer is ready to go. I gotta say, there is no plastic pieces on here. Everything on here is metal. It's extremely robust. The feet are adjustable in height, so if there's any wiggle anywhere, you can just make it steady. Hopefully this thing prints and operates as good as this thing appears to be. So far, so good. Alright, before we go any further, let's go ahead and see what's hiding underneath this metal shroud. And it looks like the no plastic continues even on the hot end over here. So let's go ahead and take this apart. First, it looks like we're going to have to get in here and undo some grub screws to take off this wheel. I actually remember some of the really early models had something sketchy going on with this wheel, but it looks like they completely resolved that here. Look at how quality just this is, and this isn't even an important part of the machine. Okay, so here's another look from the other side. Just a single piece. Nice big aluminum heatsink. Let's take the sock off. Alright, pretty standard fare down here. Alright, and here is the Hotend part. Gotta love machined bits. Alright, so yeah, it's a pretty typical Hotend assembly. Looks like it's an MK8 style nozzle. Ender style. We have a tiny little piece of PTFE tube here, and you should be able to replace this with something else. I'm assuming something for a Creality style machine will fit this. Would be nice to have an all metal Hotend on a machine of this nature. Alright, let's give it some juice. Alright, so this is actually a really familiar looking interface. I did have a similar interface on an earlier ANET machine that I added my own firmware onto. So let's take a look at what we have here. Let's click this. This is what's on the SD card. Kywoo3D Tycoon data. Alright, we got slicing software. Obviously this is stuff that comes with, that would be useful when we put it into a computer. Installation video, model file, Wi-Fi connection, and this is going to be interesting. We are going to have to follow something like that to add it into Cura. We might have to add a third-party plugin from the store. Should be easy. Auto leveling test. Oops. This auto leveling test that's on here. I think this is one of those like grids that helps you see if auto leveling works. Bird whistle, ghost 30-minute, and XYZ cube. Is that everything for files? All right. So first we'll do the auto bed leveling, then we'll do bird whistle because that sounds fun. And it's a 2-hour print, so I'll let it go and we'll see what that's all about. Let's see what model file has in it. Nothing. So these are probably these models, but in a different format for us. All right, let's go back. This is how you set the Z offset. I'll do this after we do the leveling. Let's hit the gears. Store settings, restore. Change filament, English. Okay, so very, very simple menu. Clicking on the nozzle itself brings up the nozzle temperature. This is the bed temperature. And this is the fan speed. Can we drag? We can drag. Just want to hear what the fan is like. Oh, I actually didn't notice it turn on. That 30mm fan is somewhat silent. The fans that I hear right now are just coming from the power supply, the typical 50mm power supply that's in there. So that cooling fan is pretty much silent. Okay, very simple firmware, not much going on. So this part in the middle here, that's the X, the Y, and the Z coordinates. Right now we are seeing zeros and question marks because the printer hasn't homed, it doesn't know where those parts are. So if we click that area, here we get our simple buttons for movement, such as Z. That's Z moving up 10. Z moving back down 10. We have the extruder. I'm not going to click it because it's not preheated. We have the Y. And of course we have the X. And then we have a level button. And we are going to do that next. So let me go ahead and preheat the bed. So to do that, we are going to go here. We are going to set this to, let's do 60. Let's see if I can fine tune. Yep, very nice. Heat that to 60. Let's do 200 on the nozzle. And I don't have filament in there so that it won't ooze. There we go. Once it's preheated, we will do the leveling. All right, looks like leveling is complete, so I'm gonna go hit back. All right, so according to the manual, to adjust the Z offset, you need to insert the storage card, print, and choose the auto leveling test file. When printing the first layer, look at how well the model attaches to the bed and adjust the Z offset appropriately. When the filament cannot be attached to the printing platform well, click minus to lower the nozzle. When the nozzle is too close to the hotbed and the filament cannot be extruded properly, click the plus to raise the nozzle until the model can be relatively firmly attached to the hotbed as shown in the following picture. So let's go ahead and take care of that. Alright, first let's load the filament. Alright, it is extruding beautifully. So let's go ahead and go to our SD card, and then we'll go down to the auto bed leveling test. So while this is happening, we will be checking for the Z offset. Looks like for us, negative 3.15 is looking pretty good. All right, I'm gonna hit the check mark, and then I'm gonna leave this thing to finish its test, and let's see how it goes. All right, so that was a 4-minute, 40-second test print, and the layers look absolutely perfect. So I think we got not only leveling, but our Z offset flawless. Yep, I'm very happy with this calibration, and I'm going to assume that us putting that measurement in there is all saved and ready for the next print. Let's check. Yep, negative 3.150 offset. Okay, let's go ahead and start our print. Alright, the wing prints are done. There is a ton. I have a lot to clean up, a lot to assemble, but I'll do that all in a separate video, and I'm just really excited to continue this project. It's going to be an absolute blast. So far, the printer has been going for 5 days straight. This is the 5th day. Right now I'm doing TPU. So far, PLA has been flawless. My custom profile for this particular thing has been great. Here is how the TPU came out, since I'm doing it now. There you go, and this is using the standard Kywoo3D profiles for Cura that you can download from their website. They have 4: PLA, TPU, PETG, and ABS. I'm not going to test the ABS or the PETG, although I do have a ton of PETG to check out by California Filaments. Really excited to get to that, but it's just not going to happen in this video, unfortunately. But yeah, let's talk about the print so far. All of the PLA prints, man, they have been great. This printer is so robust. Everything on it is metal. It's just, you know, it's built like an old muscle car. This thing ain't going anywhere. It's solid. Nothing is plastic. Even the handles are metal that are on the top. This thing does not move, and I really, really like and appreciate that level of construction on this thing. We all hate a flimsy printer, and this is just not it. This thing doesn't need any kind of chassis brace or anything. It's a brick house, and I really like the construction of this thing. I've had other linear rail machine and linear rod machines. For example, my custom orange machine behind me that this will actually replace at some point used to be all on linear rods, kind of like a Prusa machine, except it just expanded to 330 millimeters. But when that machine got that big, things got a little bit loose-goose. The rods actually have play in it because of the weight of everything. I can say that this does not have any play. It is just the right size, I think, for this construction. And there's actually a larger version of this machine, the Tycoon Max, that's also really intriguing that I would like to check out at some point. But that's actually why the orange machine got replaced with extrusions and wheels, because just when you take the standard Prusa recipe and make it bigger, it doesn't quite work out, and that's actually probably why Prusa never made a larger printer that's exactly the same. That's why their larger machine is a Core XY machine and not the same system as their smaller machine. Not to say that this is a Prusa clone. This uses a lot of its own ideas, and it's most definitely a completely unique system. Speaking of unique systems, let's talk about the screen. The screen is kind of like a what you see is what you get, a WYSIWYG. If you click on that SD card, you get to the SD card. If you click on the fan, you get to the fan. If you click on the gear, you get to the gears. It's really simple, and the reason for that is because of the Wi-Fi module. Basically, if you go to your computer and you go onto the Wi-Fi settings, you'll see that there's a Kywoo3D Wi-Fi that you can join. The password to that is 01234567. And when you log on, it actually pops up an entire menu that comes up. And in that menu, you have the ability to change the settings to the machine, and they're pretty elaborate and advanced, but one of them is changing the Wi-Fi module from broadcasting to receiving, and you can give it your SSID and your password to your home or office Wi-Fi, wherever this thing is going, and then when it restarts, it actually reads the IP address that it connects to right over here on your screen. And what you do is you type that into your browser, and now you have some seriously advanced settings. It's basically like a Pronterface menu directly for your machine, including everything. You can send code for PID tuning, you can do E-steps calibrations, you can really tune the machine to however you like, as long as Marlin supports it. And I think that this feature should be implemented everywhere, across all machines. That simple Wi-Fi chip should definitely be included. It is just such a nice feature, and it's just good to see. They should all have this. So that's definitely, you know, huge kudos to Kywoo3D for including that and having that and giving us the level of control, yet staying extremely simple where it needs to be. Now, while I'm talking about the Wi-Fi, I gotta say that at the moment, the Wi-Fi plugin that you install for Cura is currently not available for 5.0. I have it, I tried to install it, but it doesn't quite work, and they're actually actively fixing it on the GitHub. It's not Kywoo3D, it's literally the people behind making the plugin for Cura work. So right now it works for the older Curas, but I've switched over to 5.0, so I can't test that yet. However, it looks promising. Even 6 hours ago from this video, there were updates to the GitHub for that plugin. So I'm assuming really shortly Cura 5.0 support will happen for Wi-Fi, and you should be able to print right from Cura, control the printer right from Cura, monitor right from Cura, which I think is pretty cool. And that's going to be very useful. But for now, you still have full control over your machine. You still have a lot of Wi-Fi capability, and that is really, really welcome, and I love it. You really have to search deep to find negatives on this machine, honestly. You know, it's not the most quiet machine. The fans aren't necessarily loud, but you can hear them. You know, the way the linear the bearings work on the linear systems, you can kind of hear them during fast movements, so it's not dead silent, but to me that's totally okay. I have a lot of noise happening actually in the background. You might just hear buzzing all over the place. I have a dehumidifier running. There's another machine printing. This thing's printing right next to me. So right now in this environment, I can't even hear it. So there's that. But yeah, it's hard to find negatives about it. So far, my experience has been nothing but positive. You guys saw the prints. The prints are nearly flawless, especially in PLA. This Extreme PLA has been really great. Definitely go ahead and check that out. I'll have links down in the description below. Let me know down in the comments what you guys want to see me do with this machine. Do you have any specific questions I can answer? You know, I dig it. Do you guys dig it? What do you guys think about this machine? While you're down there, definitely check out 2 things for this channel. 1, the Patreon. Thank you guys for being Patreon members. You guys support this channel greatly. You guys can ask questions there. I post all of my videos up to a week early, so you guys can comment, talk about, ask questions before it gets to YouTube, before everyone else sees it. There's exclusive previews about things that I'm working on, projects and polls, things of that nature. Definitely check out the Patreon. And then let's talk about our Discord channel. The Discord channel is almost at 1,000 members. I think last I checked, there was like 952 members. So thank you for everyone in there. Showcasing your prints, helping everyone troubleshoot their machines. It's just a great community. I'm really thankful for it. So thank you guys. Check those 2 out down in the description below. Thank you to the video sponsor, Skillshare. This month on Skillshare, I'm checking out a class called Easy Flight School by Jeremiah Miller, where we get to build your own remote-controlled airplane. Lots of different videos here that are short and easy to understand. There's PDF plans and ebooks, there's discussions to be had, but this is not the only class here. On Skillshare, you can browse through a ton of different types of classes, whether it's film and video, fine art, whether you want to learn about marketing or music photography. There's so many different classes, so many different videos, and I love the fact that they're broken down into small chunks like this that are easy to understand and easy to follow. You could do them at work, you could do them at school, you could do them at home, anywhere you'd like. You can even do them on your phone, which is awesome. So the first 1,000 people to use my link in the description box or my code 3DPrintSOS will get 1 month free trial of Skillshare. One of the best parts about the 1 month trial is you're not obligated to pay. So you can check it out for a month, you can get a lot of different courses in, learn as much as you can, and then make a decision whether this is right for you or not. Alright, thank you Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Check out the links in the description below. And back to our video. Alright. And I think that's all for me. So as always, I'll see you all in the comments. Later.